Welcome. In this video tutorial we're going to delve further into HTML and we're going to be writing some more HTML code that will allow us to create a hyperlink. But before we do that, if we just recap what we've covered in previous videos, we first of all started to talk about what the internet is and what the World Wide Web is. We then went on to discuss what HTML was, and then we started writing some basic HTML. We did that using our preferred text editor, or in my case, I used a piece of software called Dreamweaver. In our last video, we started talking about the importance of folder structures, and I actually created a my_website folder. And inside that, I created a subfolder called CSS, where we'll be putting our style sheets later. We created a folder called images, which is where I'll put all of my images. And then it's where we save the landing page, which we talked about being called index.html. Now, before we go into the actual programming for this video, I'm just going to give you an overview of what it is we're going to do. So if I just draw out that folder structure that we've just looked at, the first folder, obviously the root folder, was the my_website folder. And inside that folder, we had the folder called CSS. Also inside the my website folder, we had a folder called images, and then we had the file called index.html. Now what we're going to do in this video is we're going to start working with what Tim Berners-Lee first came up with, and that was the hyperlink and being able to link between pages within the same folder structure that you might have, so on the same computer, or externally to someone else's files somewhere across the other side of the world. So we'll start by creating another page inside this folder structure, and we're going to call that page page2.html. And what we're going to do is on the index.html, we're going to create a hyperlink that when we click on it, takes us to page2.html. Again, hyperlinks existed before Tim Berners-Lee came up with the World Wide Web, but what he did come up with is being able to hyperlink from one document on one machine to another document on someone else's machine. So what we're also going to do is we're going to have two hyperlinks on index.html, and that second hyperlink is going to take us to the bbc.co.uk website. Okay, so these are both hyperlinks on the index.html page, and they're going to take us to different pages. That's what we're going to do in this session. So first of all, what we're going to do is the first step is to create this page. We're going to create page2.html. Otherwise, there'll be links on this page here that won't be able to go anywhere because the pages have been created. So we're going to start by creating page2.html. If you go to your text editing application, or if you're like me, open up Dreamweaver, I'm going to create a HTML document. I'm just going to get rid of all of this code so as not to confuse you. And the first thing I need to do is save this. So even before I write any code, I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as page2, no spaces, .html. Remember, the .html is really important because that is the extension that's required in order to create web pages. You can see that it's set up to be saved in my website folder, which is where I want it. I'm going to press save. You can see that that's now changed to page2.html, and if I scroll across, you can see that in my folder structure here, I have page2.html. So I'm all ready to go. So back to the text editor. It's now time to start writing the core HTML code that we're required to create on every HTML page. So open up my tags, HTML, followed by the head. Open up the title, close the title, close the head, open up the body, close the body, and then close HTML. Inside the title, I'm just going to call this page 2, and inside the body, I'm going to put welcome to page 2 of my website. I'm just going to save this, file, save. And then if I go into my folder structure here, where the page2.html is saved, if I double click that, I'll just do that a little bit quick. So page2.html, I can right click, open with, Google Chrome, which is my default browser. Again, you can use Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera. Open up that, and you can see here, look, I'm just going to close this one. I've got page 2 in my title on my tab, and you can see that it says in the body, welcome to page 2 of my website. So I've done the first step. I've created page2.html. What I need to do now is I'm going to open up index.html and create the hyperlinks. So go back to my folder structure, right click on index.html, and I'm going to open with, again, if you're using Notepad as your editor, open it up in Notepad. I'm opening up in Dreamweaver because that's where I'm writing all my code. Okay, so index.html is open. If your index.html is the same as mine from previous video tutorials, I'm just going to delete the contents of the body like that. Okay, so you can see I've got my raw HTML that's required. I've got my first web page in the title, and then currently I've got nothing in the body. So what I want to do is I want to create a hyperlink inside of here that when I click on it, it opens up page 2. I'm just going to break that down a little bit first. So let's have a look what's going on. Okay, let's just get a better color than that. So what I actually want to end up with is I want to end up with a web page. This is my web browser with my address bar in my web browser. And most hyperlinks that you find on the web are in blue. And what I'm going to first of all do is I'm going to write page 2. Now I want that to be my hyperlink. Okay, so the page that I'm going to end up creating, the index.html. Okay, if we label this, this is going to be my index.html file, and I want it to look like this. It's going to say page 2 on the page, then underneath there's going to be a couple of line breaks, and I'm going to put BBC, and they are going to be hyperlinks. This one will take me to page2.html that's in my folder structure, and this one will take me to an external site, which is the BBC's website. To do that, the code that we need to write, so you know that this area here, this area here is the body. So if I have a look at my code, I'll have a body tag, and then down here, that body tag will be closed. So what code do I need to create these two hyperlinks? Well, we've already learned about certain tags that are required in your HTML, such as the head, the HTML, the body, etc. A tag that we haven't learned about yet is the A tag. Now the A tag, you would think, looks like that. And the A tag, basically, it tells the browser that anything that comes after that, or encased inside the A tags here, so anything that comes here is a link. Okay, but there's a bit more to the A tag, because there are some tags where we need to add attributes. So that's where we add just a little bit extra to those tags to tell them more. Because if you think about it, if I just said, okay, this page 2 is a link, it's encased within the A tags. We know that the A tags mean that make this a link, but where have we told it where to link to? We haven't. We haven't done that. So the A tag needs more attributes, and the attributes that it needs is the actual destination of the link. So if I just rub this out, what we're going to do is we're going to keep the A tag open like this, but we're not going to do much more just yet. Just rub this out briefly, like that. So the A tag's open, and we need an attribute called, oops, I'll just do this in black. We need an attribute called href. So attribute called href. And the href will tell the link where the destination is. And this attribute has to have a certain syntax, as in it has to be written in a certain way. So there's an A, that's the link tag. There's a space here, and then it says href, which is an attribute. We're then going to go for an equals, again no space between href and equals. This is a double quotes. Okay, it's not two apostrophes, it's double quotes. And then this is where we need to start thinking about where do we want it to link to. So this code that I'm writing is inside index.html. So this code that I'm writing here will be inside index.html. And the href attribute says, right, you've written this code inside index.html. The href is where do you want me to go? When you click on me, where do you want me to go? So have a look at our folder here. Where do I want it to go? I want it to go to page2.html. I don't want it to go into any folders. I don't want it to come out of any folders. I just want it to go straight to page2.html. So what I need to do in my code here is, oops, we just go across. What I'm going to do in my code here is I'm just literally going to write page2.html. Close these quotes, and then this is where it can get a little bit confusing. I'm going to do the more than symbol. So this here is still the open tag for a link. That is still just an open tag. I haven't closed it, I haven't put a backslash. Now I've opened that tag, what I need to do is I need to write the words that I want to appear here. Okay, so I write after this. It doesn't have to be on a separate line, it's just that I've run out of space. After the more than symbol, you don't need to put a space, and you would write page 2. And whatever you write after this more than symbol is the text that will appear in the body there. Okay, once I've written that, I then close the A tag. Okay, so at this point here, I've opened the A tag and it has a href attribute, and here I've closed the A tag. Just like up here, I open the body, down here I close the body. So that's the code that I need to write. If, for example, I wrote page 3 here, then page 3 is the piece of text that would appear there. Okay, I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute. So this is the code I need. So I'm going to go across to my text editor, and in here I'm going to write a href, just like we did before, equals quotes page2.html, close quotes, more than symbol, so that's opened the A tag. I'm then going to write page 2, and that's the text that will appear in my body, and then I'm going to close the A tag. I'm now going to save this, file save. So I've written this on index.html. So I've written that code here, and on there it should say the words page 2. When I click on them, because it's in an A tag, it should open up this page. So let's see. I'm going to right click on index.html, open with my preferred default browser, and there it is. Okay, you can see I've opened up index.html. It says page 2. It's a hyperlink because it's underlined, and when I put my mouse over it, it changes to a hand. You can see that it's purple, and the reason for that, if you remember if you're used to using websites, a hyperlink is usually blue. But when you visited the page already and it's been cached, which means that the web browser has remembered that you visited that page, it will turn purple. So it knows that I've already had this page open, which is here. So it's purple, I click on it, and it takes me to page 2. I just want to show you what I mean by, if I go across here, so that says page space 2. If I go to my code here, if I change those words in here, so for example, if I put click here and then save it, and then go back and hit refresh, now it will say click here. So whatever is encased in between these A tags here are the words that will appear on the browser in the body, just there. Okay, and it still works, you see. Now then, think about what I want to do then for the next bit of code. If I go back into my planning, just get a different color pen. So I've done that link. Now what I need to do is I need, first of all, I want a couple of line breaks. So if we think back a couple of videos, we had a BR tag Remember, we write BR tags like this, it's the correct syntax. So these two BR tags here, first of all, the first BR tag will put something onto the next line, which will start there, but I want a space between the two. So by adding another BR tag, I've created a space, and whatever I write next will be on this line. So what I want next is I want another A tag with the attribute of href equals open quotes. Now this time I don't want to link to a page that's inside my folder. I want to go to a website, another website. So all I would do in here is I'd write http://www.bbc.co.uk. Why? Because that is the web address of the BBC. Close that, well, not close the tag, but close that by putting a more than symbol. Now, whatever I put in between, here and here will be the words that appear here. So I'm just going to write BBC. Okay, and this should be a link that, because it's in the A tag, that takes me to this website because I've set up the attribute of href. So let's go and write that and see if it works. So first of all, what I wanted was two BR tags. So I'll just do those. And another one. And then underneath there, I'm going to write a href equals http://www.bbc.co.uk. And then I can more than symbol, and then whatever I write next is what will appear inside of my body. Oops, I missed something out there, you see. Now this is why I use Dreamweaver, because you can see it color codes everything. What I missed after .co.uk was I forgot to close the quotes. Then the more than symbol. Then whatever I write, that will appear on the body. Close my A tag, and that should now work. If I save that, oops, file, save, go and open up index.html, open with default browser, and there you can see I've got click here, I've got two line breaks, and then I've got the BBC. If I scroll over that, click on it, it'll open up the BBC website. Okay, so what we've done there is we've written our first hyperlink, which is again what Tim Berners-Lee came up with the concept of when he developed the World Wide Web, and we've hand-coded our first piece of HTML with a hyperlink.